So we are diving headfirst into what feels like one of the biggest inflection points in AI for a while now.
Absolutely. I mean, for months, we've seen the build-up, the roadmaps, all the whispers.
And now they're here. Gemini 3 Pro and GPT 5.1, they basically landed right on top of each other.
And, usually when new models drop, we have to spend weeks just wading through these abstract benchmark tables.
Right, which tell you almost nothing about what it's actually like to use the tool for 8 hours a day.
Exactly.
But the source material we're looking at today just bypasses all that. It's a real-world analysis from someone who lived with both of these models.
Yeah, running them on daily mission-critical work.
Everything. Coding, research, complex writing. And they logged, and this is a quote, every win and every facepalm. So our job right now is to pull out the practical differences for you.
And find the actual personality profile of these two giants.
Yes.
And what's so fascinating is that the core insight from that trial is that these models feel, well, they feel radically different to use.
How so?
Gemini 3 Pro comes across as this agentic multimodal specialist. It's the one that loves messy visual inputs, huge context, and these long multi-step workflows.
While GPT 5.1 is, what, the opposite?
It's more like the careful, talkative colleague. The one who quietly nails the brief, keeps the output really precise, and is basically designed to keep you out of trouble.
Okay, that is a critical distinction.
It is, because this is the first time both models feel like genuinely polished, production-ready products.
Not just research demos anymore.
No, they're backed by serious safety work, deep integrations. This is stuff you can actually rely on for real business tasks. This whole analysis couldn't be more timely.
All right, let's unpack this tale of the tape before we get into the anecdotes. What do the actual specs and architectures tell us? Because it sounds like they're built for totally different jobs.
They really are. Architecturally, Gemini 3 Pro is built on a sparse mixture of Experts Transformer and MOE.
Okay.
The key part there is the native multimodal support. It's not an afterthought. It handles text, images, audio, video, right from the core.
And it has that huge context window.
A massive one, up to 1 million tokens in with a 64,000 token output. But I think the most important part is the tuning.
What about it?
It was specifically optimized with reinforcement learning for multi-step reasoning and tool use. It's designed to act like a problem solver, not just a chatbot.
So it's engineered from the ground up to be an actor.
And an agent.
Exactly. And GPT 5.1, it takes a totally different tack. It's all about what OpenAI calls interaction quality and controllability. So more about the user experience.
That's right. It's designed around reliability. It even comes in 3 main flavors. You've got Instant, which is your fast default workhorse. Then there's Thinking, which is a heavy reasoning mode for complex tasks. And then Auto, which is the smart router that just picks the right mode for you.
And both vendors put a huge emphasis on safety this time around.
A massive focus. Updated evaluations for filtering, mental health concerns, cybersecurity risks. They're both designed to be really resistant to jailbreak prompts.
They want them to be reliable partners, not liabilities. Okay, but let's talk raw power, because the numbers here really do hint at why Gemini feels like that reasoning specialist. We're looking at some really nasty reasoning benchmarks.
We are. And if you look at a test like, say, Humanities Last Exam, which is basically graduate-level academic reasoning, Gemini 3 Pro edges out GPT 5.1. It scores 37.5% to GPT's 26.5%.
Okay, that's an edge, but not a blowout.
True, but then you look at the really specialized challenges, like hard contest-style math problems, the Math Arena Apex benchmark.
And that gap is enormous. Gemini 3 Pro gets 23.4%, but GPT 5.1 it's at 1.0%.
1%. It's almost a complete failure on that specific kind of task.
Why? What causes a monumental gap like that?
It's that MOE architecture combined with the heavy reinforcement learning for agency. Gemini is just structurally better at holding vast, complex states in its head and running precise logical operations on them.
So on the hardest, most abstract problems, it's just built differently.
It is, but, and this is the crucial point from the article, raw benchmarks are only half the story. You have to see what happens when you throw them into a real workflow.
Right. Let's get to the editor and the studio coding and multimodality. This is where it stops being theoretical.
And starts affecting your daily productivity.
So in the hands-on coding, trial scaffolding apps, refactoring, all that, those two personalities really came out.
They did. In the coding workflows, Gemini 3 Pro was amazing at what the article calls one-shot scaffolding and vibe coding.
Vibe coding, what's that?
It means it's excellent at generating clean, working code HTML, CSS, JavaScript really quickly based on just loose requirements or a quick visual description. And it's really good at juggling multiple files in one request.
And the analysis points to its performance inside agent-first environments like Google Anti-Gravity. For people who haven't heard of it, what is that?
Anti-Gravity is basically Google's integrated environment for autonomous AI. It's an IDE where the AI can plan, run commands, edit files, and check its own work without a human micromanaging it.
And Gemini shines there.
It acts like a proactive junior team member. It plans the work, writes the code, and then verifies the solution. GPT 5.1, on the other hand, was described as a bit slower, but more precise.
Especially with edge cases in existing code.
Exactly. GPT 5.1 is the careful editor, and Gemini is the aggressive, creative scaffolder.
And GPT's explanations of its design choices were better.
Much clearer, more pedagogical, which is invaluable if you're coming back to that code 6 months later.
Oh, absolutely. Or onboarding someone new.
Yeah, and its thinking mode is fantastic for multi-step algorithm design if you ask it to talk through its steps first.
But wait, we have to mention the third contender here.
Right. Claude 3.5 Sonnet.
The analysis says Sonnet still quietly wins those long, hairy refactors in legacy code bases.
It does, which tracks with its coding scores. If you're dealing with old, brittle systems, sometimes the most conservative model is the best. It's a key part of building that toolkit.
And on the agentic benchmarks, the ones that simulate running a business.
The tilt to Gemini is undeniable. On a task like Vending Bench 2, Gemini 3 Pro earned over $5,000 autonomously.
Wow. And GPT.
About $1,400. It's that design philosophy in action. Gemini is just built for automated, sustained execution.
Okay, now let's talk multimodal magic. Round 4. This is where the article says the contest kind of stops being close.
It really does.
And the ultimate test was something called the freezer test.
A brilliant practical test. The model was shown a chaotic photo of a freezer.
Just a normal, messy freezer.
Yes. And it was asked to suggest meals using only what was physically visible in that photo.
And Gemini 3 Pro was disciplined.
Ruthlessly. It listed meals that respected the inventory. It even noted constraints like, I don't see any sauces or fresh produce.
Whereas GPT 5.1 improvised. It broke the main rule.
It did. It came up with great recipes, but it quietly assumed you had other pantry items. Garlic powder, olive oil, things that weren't in the picture.
That shows a core difference, right? Gemini is better at sticking to the non-textual constraints.
Exactly. It's critical for visual thinkers, like designers or product managers.
And its analysis goes deeper than just recognizing objects.
Way deeper. In one trial, it connected UX choices for a senior-friendly app directly to age-related changes in vision and motor control. It went beyond the general accessibility best practices that GPT 5.1 gave.
So if your world involves screenshots, dashboards, whiteboard photos...
Gemini is the clear choice. The benchmarks like MMMU Pro just confirm what the hands-on trial found.
Okay, let's move to the softer skills, like writing and research. Because this is where the gap seems to flip, and that careful colleague personality becomes a huge asset.
It really does. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Hallucinations.
In complex research workflows, this is everything.
It's the classic trade-off. Do you want speed and sharp critique, or do you want guaranteed due diligence?
And Gemini is the sharp critic.
Brilliant at it. Deconstructing arguments, spotting bias, synthesizing documents super fast. However,
It can invent things.
it occasionally invents specific references, URLs, or numbers with very high confidence.
Like plausible-sounding things.
Perfectly plausible. It might invent a perfectly formatted URL that goes nowhere or cite a journal article that sounds right but just doesn't exist. It's a fantastic second opinion, but you have to check its work religiously.
So for researchers, GPT 5.1 is the safer default.
Much safer. It's less flashy, far more conservative. It's more likely to just say, I can't confirm that from the documents provided, or ask for a link.
For anything involving regulation or auditing, it's the only real choice.
Absolutely. The system is designed to be cautious in those sensitive areas.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, what about creative writing? When you give them tight, weird constraints, what do their personalities really look like?
It's like two different writers hired for the same job. They were given a prompt with tight restrictions like vocabulary size and mandatory plot twists.
And GPT 5.1.
It produced solid professional genre fiction. Hit every constraint, clean structure, explained its choices. It felt reliable, safe.
So GPT 5.1 is the one you hired to write the shareholder report.
That's a great way to put it. And Gemini 3 is the one you hire for the existential horror screenplay.
Oh, okay.
It was undeniably more daring. It didn't just follow the constraints, it leaned into them. It used them as a stylistic device. The story was messier, sure, but it was far more original.
But for just everyday writing emails, meeting summaries, the analysis found GPT 5.1 felt better.
Yeah, and that comes down to consistency and user experience. GPT 5.1 has better tone presets, professional, friendly, nerdy, you name it.
And it sticks to custom instructions better.
Far more reliably. If you tell it, always be concise, never use passive voice, it stays in that character for weeks. That makes it the more reliable daily writing partner.
Well, Gemini is that brilliant, chaotic co-author you bring in for the risky first drafts.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pivot to that deep think factor. We saw the raw scores, but how do their internal reasoning modes, Gemini's deep think versus GPT's thinking, actually show up in practice?
Gemini's deep think mode is just raw, dedicated brute force. It pushes compute to the max for structured logic problems, tough math.
So it's about hitting those high benchmark scores.
And reaching answers faster, especially if it can execute code. The drawback, though, is that it can sometimes over-optimize a plan in a way that's hyper-clever, but also really brittle, hard to fix if it goes wrong.
And GPT 5.1's thinking mode is more adaptive?
Yes, and maybe more useful for non-coders. It adjusts its internal thinking time dynamically. Fast on easy stuff, slower on the hard stuff.
And the output is clearer.
That's the real value. The explanations are often easier to reuse for documentation or teaching. It's more pedagogical.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to decide which tool to use? It really sounds like it comes down to ecosystems, to where you already live digitally.
The analysis makes it clear that flow is everything. If you're in Google's world, Gemini 3 is everywhere. Search AI mode, workspace, Vertex AI, and that agent platform, Anti-Gravity.
Google's whole infrastructure is built around agents first.
With human steering, that's right.
And for the millions of people in OpenAI's world, ChatGPT is still the main front end.
Correct. And it offers that deep personalization we talked about, reliable custom instructions, tone presets. It feels like a consistent collaborator. The choice isn't just about metrics, it's about reducing cognitive friction in your day.
So we get to the practical verdict, which is don't pick a winner, build a toolkit.
It's the only logical conclusion. You use GPT 5.1 when you need clarity, safety, consistency for writers, educators, researchers doing a first pass.
And you use Gemini 3 when you need that massive reach, that multimodal analysis, those complex agentic workflows.
Right. That's for coders, visual thinkers, data analysts who need a sharp critique.
And don't forget the third pillar.
Never forget Claude 3.5 Sonnet for that quiet, conservative refactoring that can save you from a major bug.
And the amazing thing is the cost of adding either of these tiers to an existing subscription is tiny compared to the time they save.
It's negligible, a massive efficiency gain.
So the ultimate takeaway from this whole real-world trial, and this is the challenge we want to leave you with, is to just stop reading comparisons.
Please, don't let someone else tell you what's best for you.
Block 90 minutes on your calendar this week. Take one real project, something you actually care about, and run it end-to-end with both of these models.
Stop asking which giant model is best in the abstract.
And start asking the only question that actually matters. How can I arrange these powerful systems so they extend my mind, my team, and my time in a way that feels almost unfairly advantageous?
That's the future that's hiding in this moment. And it's just one prompt away from whatever you're building next. Go try it.